Welcome to the Master of the NEC podcast, the ultimate destination for anyone passionate about the electrical trade. Whether you're a seasoned electrician, an eager apprentice, or just someone who wants to dive deep into the world of electrical work, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Paul Abernathy, a true authority in the industry with over 38 years of trade experience, as he electrifies your mind with in-depth discussions, expert tips, and valuable insights that will keep you ahead of the curve. Each episode, Paul will illuminate the complexities of the trade, decode the National Electrical Code, and share the latest industry trends, all while empowering you to take your electrical career to the next level. So, gear up, plug in, and get ready to supercharge your knowledge, because with the Master of the NEC podcast, the power is in your hands. Now get ready. Here is your host, Paul Abernathy.
Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Master of the NEC. My name's Paul Abernathy, your host. Thanks for joining me today on this episode, where we're going to talk about grassroots guerrilla marketing for electrical contractors and electricians, whether you're doing some side hustles and you want to learn how to make a little bit extra money, obviously doing it legally. You know how I am about that. But also growing your business. If you're an owner of a business and you're trying to grow it and you're thinking, dude, I'm heading into 2025 and I want to think, how am I going to leverage my marketing without spending a fortune? And so there is many ways that you can do it in guerrilla marketing, but there also is a mental state that we need to put you in so that you can take your business to the next level. Or maybe you're working for somebody and you're thinking, look, I want to branch out. I want to do my own thing. And so there's ways to do it, and all you need to do is start getting your hooks in the marketing game and realizing that everything is marketing. Everything. And as much as I tried to resist this for years and tell people, look, I'm just an electrician. I don't deal with marketing. I don't deal with any of that type of stuff. You really do have to realize that as an owner of a company, marketing is very crucial. Obviously, licensing, get everything right. But once you get everything set, the next thing that you got to worry about is, how am I going to market this thing? How am I going to get this thing out there so that I've stopped spending money out and I start bringing income and money in? Okay. And again, one of the biggest misconceptions that I see out there with people that tell you or maybe give you business advice on how to start your business, one of the biggest mistakes that I see out there is that they tell people that you got to pay yourself first before you pay everybody else or pay other things. CPAs are famous for this shit. They will tell you, well, if you're going to be successful, make sure you pay yourself first. Dude, they obviously have never been in business where you actually have, it sounds like their business is almost nearly 100% of income and zero expenses. So they're just raking in the money. They don't have any expenses going out, so they can easily say that. Well, they can't relate to what the plumbing contractor, electrical contractor, mechanical they can't relate. Although they try to give you great advice, they cannot relate. So you really shouldn't listen to their advice. Now, you can listen to their tax advice. You can listen to their those type, but they don't know anything about how your business runs. Now, if you're an electrical contractor, and I've been an electrical contractor, I was in multiple states for many years before I decided that it's better for me to teach it and explain it than it is to do it. Getting old, fat, and lazy should not be a career path for me. So I started going into teaching and educating and expanding that type of area. And I realized that, as a contractor, I have to pay my vendors. I have to pay my help. I have to pay my contribution to the taxes. I have to pay all of this stuff first before I pay myself. And that's why so many people struggle, is because they don't realize that, and they take their money first because they've been listening to that advice. And yes, you got to live. I get it. But you got to make sure that your people are paid, your vendors are paid. You don't want to incur debt just so you can pull a meager paycheck when you're starting out. Okay. And so one of the things that we talk about is the fact that you need to know how to do marketing, whether it's, again, low-cost guerrilla marketing, why it's important to do it. And many of you have heard the little stories of me taking business cards and actually sliding them in the boxes at Home Depot and Lowe's right in the lighting aisle, in the ceiling fan aisle. And it's a true story. It is 100% true that I used to go in there. If I was in there for something anyway, I didn't just go there to do it. If I was in there for something, then I would take a business card. And usually when they seal the lights and the fixtures, or they seal the fans or whatever, it still leaves opening in the side to cover, to slide your card in there, so that when they cut it and open it, the card will fall out first, because it's not in the box. It's basically just under the lid. And I did get calls from that. And, it cost literally nothing but the business card. That was it. That's all it cost. Now, don't go out there saying, Paul told me to do it, and you go get caught, and you blame me. I'm just telling you that's what I did, and if it gives you an idea to do that, that's an example of some really grassroots marketing. Also, I'll say it, and we'll cover some topics here. I've got some topics I want to talk about, but I also was famous for anytime I went to the grocery store, anytime I went to basically take a business card and slide it down in the seal just above the door lock where the handle was, I just would slide a business card right there. I didn't put them under the windshield because I was more worried that they would go and it would blow off and somebody would see it, and then I'd get calls about littering. So I slid it down right there under the seal where the windshield wiper was. Not windshield wiper, where the door lock was, the handle. That's how I used to do it. But to each his own. But the point was, I would do that to cars on the left and to the right of me when I was in the shopping center. I was in the grocery store. I was hungry. As a contractor, I did everything I could to realize that, and it was part of those neat things, like coupon clippers. How coupon clippers, they get this big high when they got a bunch of coupons, right? And they are able to get everything on their grocery list for nothing. That's like the euphoric high for them. It was the same way for me as a contractor. I was like, dude, I would ask them. I'd say, or I'd write on my business cards in the bottom right, HD, if I did it at Home Depot or L, and that type of thing. And in my business cards, I had unique business cards made up. I got them at Vistaprint. They were always cheap. And I would have, if I gave 10% off the first new service or whatever, when you present this card, and then so I knew where it came from if they wanted it. Now, if they called me and didn't present the card, then they didn't get the discount. Right? But I always ask, where'd you get it from? Where'd you hear about us? Because I was always wanting to know where my efforts were working, that type of scenario. So there's just some grassroots stuff that I used to do. So let's get into today's episode and try to cover a few things here that we want to talk about. So one of the things that we're going to do here is we're going to explain and highlight some of the challenges that electricians or electrical contractors face when marketing on a extremely tight budget, or maybe it's not tight, but maybe you created or you've imposed a tight budget for, let's say, a certain length of time to see what your ROI is or return on investment is for that effort. Maybe like a subdivision, maybe you're targeting that type of thing or whatnot. And so you got the labor of the people that are door hanging or putting up the cards or handing out the cards. So you want to track your return on investment. And a good way to do that, again, is to put something on the card or the advertisement or the marketing material that allows you to see if you're going to give somebody a discount or a new customer discount or something like that, that you can actually keep track of that. So again, I like to keep track of all of my low budget grassroots marketing because I wanted to see what's actually working. And to be honest with you, if I had door hangers made at Vistaprint, very cheap. You could actually use their thing and design it right there. But I always had the ability to do software, so I did my own designs and uploaded it. I believe in door hangers, not flyers, door hangers. There's also 55 Print, I think, that does mass door hangers for a really low price. And when I say low price, I mean, it's going to be $300 or $400. But again, that's just part of the marketing, right? It's still cheap. I could tell you digital marketing, for example, when we marketed on Google, and it could be $400, $500, $600 a day, and there was no guarantee on anything. At least there's no guarantee with door hanging, but you're putting it right there on the customer's door. And so again, there's a high probability that they'll at least see it. And I'll talk about in an episode, I'll give you guys a tip on how you design your door hangers. I got some great tips on how you can design them so that you can get a really good impact when somebody sees it. And it lingers around. In other words, it doesn't go straight into the trash. I'll give you some insight on that too in a future podcast. All right, let's do that. So what we're setting the stage here for you, we're going to be talking about tight budget marketing for electricians and electrical contractors. We're going to emphasize and really focus on the importance of the marketing, because even if you already have income coming in, you already have customers, you already have clients, you should never, ever, 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 I don't even have something for this, ever stop your marketing. As an owner, you never want to get to the complacent stage where you think you got enough business coming in, you're like, I don't need any more work. That is not true. It's just, what work are you trying to achieve and direct? Or maybe you're saying, okay, I want this type of work versus this type of work. Maybe you're not doing any more rough ends, but you're thinking, I can still do smart homes. I can still do some Alexa stuff or Google device stuff, or I could smart house some stuff. I could do, change luminaires and change receptacles for real estate agents and freshen up a house. There's other things, there's different areas. I could do generators. I could do Gen Ready. There's a bunch of different energy management systems. So there's always ways that you can, but you never should stop. Okay. So marketing is something that keeps your name out there, keeps your company out there, keeps you relevant. And the old saying is that it takes usually 6 to 7 times, I think that's the number, 6 to 7 times putting your service or your widget in front of somebody for them to react. It takes at least a certain amount of time for them to react and actually buy something or call you for a service. Okay, so it takes that time that you have to be aware of. And so you have to be persistent, that type of thing. Okay. Now, next I'm going to talk about why budget marketing works. And, we're going to explain how low-cost strategies can deliver an extremely high ROI when you properly plan it and you execute it properly. Okay? And we're going to be focusing on the consistency of our low-budget marketing. Okay? So low cost, big volume. That's what we're talking about. Low cost, big volume. So that's what we'll be focusing on today in today's podcast. Okay, so let's start out by talking about free or low-cost digital marketing tools, things that we can utilize. We're trying to grow our business, trying to grow our side hustle. We're trying to take our our Saturday and Sunday to make it our Monday through Friday effort. Or maybe you already own a business and you're trying to free up your weekends, but you want to maximize the time during the week and you have some downtime, then this is stuff that you need to focus on. All right, the very first thing that I'll tell you, and it doesn't become more evident than when you see everybody freak out about TikTok going away. Social media, the sheer number of people on social media is crazy. Now, advertising on social media is expensive if you want to have some type of ad campaign. I tell people in the low-cost budgeting marketing, you do not want to do that. You do your own. You start to gather your followers. You start to gather everything. Do it yourself. Create your own ads. Make them very quick. Again, remember those social medias like TikToks and all those, which, by the way, TikTok currently is banned, but it'll be back. I don't think people really believe that it's going to stay away. Trump loves it. People love it. 170 million people use it. It ain't going anywhere. It's just temporarily on a hiatus, but this should be a mark for you. All you out there in your business, this is the perfect time. If you're a big TikToker, this is the perfect time for you to diversify your social media presence. Go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to LinkedIn, get your business profile. Don't be afraid to establish what you want it to be. Like me, I use Master the NEC on all my platforms, except for LinkedIn, which is business. So I use my full name on that one, Paul Abernathy. But everywhere else, I kept it consistent. And you should too. Keep it consistent. Now, if you already have accounts in all these and it's all muddled up, but you don't have that much of a following, or you haven't built it up, then I encourage you to get new accounts, create your username that is consistent with your business. Okay. Or if you're using one for personal, go again and establish one for your business and keep it consistent through all of your platforms. Now, what you're going to do is, you're going to do things like share short clips of projects you've done, testimonials, short tips, things like that. But again, you're not there to get TikTok famous or YouTube famous or Instagram famous. That's for those people who want to do that. I don't care about that. I've never cared about it. It's funny how we go to these shows and people come up and they go, "Have you seen somebody over there? Oh, I've seen him on TikTok." And I'm like, dude, you're enamored with somebody that just does videos and shares them on social media, and all of a sudden now they're a influencer? Like, I give a damn about them? I really don't. I'm just a guy sharing code stuff. That's all I am. And so what you want to be focusing on is for your business, is focusing on your name, your brand, how you're sharing it out there, and you're looking for local customers in your market. It's not going to do you any good if you're in Kansas City and you're trying to put something on social media and you're trying to pull people from Nebraska. It doesn't do you a bit of good. Focus. I'm not the guy you come to if you want to be a TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever influencer, because I'm not. I'm not. I don't care anything about that stuff. And if I did, why would I create Fast Tracks Tube and pull people away from those platforms? Think about it for a second. I don't care about that stuff. I care about electricians and helping them get their game to the next level. But you, as a business, you're thinking about, how do I reach that local market? Okay. So think broader than the generic Facebooks, Instagram. So you need to be on Nextdoor, if there's a Nextdoor in your area, because that's a local business marketing tool. That's local. Follow their rules. Don't get in trouble for spamming or whatever it is. But again, Nextdoor, Facebook Marketplace in your area. They have groups that are specific to your area. Make sure that you follow the rules that they have. You don't want to be spamming your business in somewhere that you accept the rules that says you won't spam your business. Now, that wouldn't be good for your business. But there are avenues for you to do that. Also, when you're creating this content from a local standpoint, not trying to be an influencer, but local, trying to get business from local, because that's where your bread and butter is, make sure you show before and after pictures of projects. That is impactful. But I'll give you some advice, especially to electricians. Stop showing videos and pictures of code violations, because it makes it people that do know, the everyday person doesn't know. But you open yourself up to be a target for people like me who see this stuff and want to post it. And what it ends up doing is it taints your feed from a bunch of people just harassing you in there. I'm just saying, okay? The other thing that I tell you is, don't be afraid to do short videos as a contractor. You don't have to be professional. Don't be afraid to do a day in your life type of videos, like a 3-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute video of something like Philly Queso does. Where he says, "Can I ever, kid?" And he shows you something in his day in his life. That type of thing really works good. But for local customers, to build your local business, to get money for doing actual work, make it relevant to them, right? Say, for example, say, "Hey, we're going out on a project here in so-and-so city," where you are. Be very specific to the viewer right away where you're at. Don't give the name. Don't give the name of the people. But that's a key. Biggest key I can give people when they're doing local marketing is make sure that within the first 10 seconds of somebody watching that little video about you and your company, that you say where you're at and what you're doing today. That is so critical that people forget when it comes to the guerrilla marketing and using these social media platforms. Let them know if you're trying to get local business, installing receptacles, installing luminaires, doing rough ends, finishing out basements, whatever. Do these little videos, put them on your social platform that we just talked about, and focus locally. Do things like Nextdoor and Facebook Marketplaces and things like that. Share them that way, but within the first 10 seconds, let them know what you're there, where you're at, where you're doing business, and what you're getting ready to show them. Let them know up front. So at least if they click off of it, they know that you're servicing this market in this area, and this is what you do. Get it out there as quick as you can, okay? I'm just saying. The next thing that you got to do, if you're a local business, you have got to take advantage of any free listings that you can take advantage of, like Google Business, those type of things. Any of those services that are Bing Local, things like that, get your free listings. But when you go into it, don't half-ass it. I mean, go into it professional. Don't just go in and throw a picture up, throw whatever. No, look, make sure you already have a logo that you like, okay? Make sure you already are able to go over a good script, basically in, I'd say 50 words or less, what it says about your company. Show your logo, show some pictures of your work, preferably do a half screenshot before and after. It's great. And it only takes you a second on a job to take a picture of something and then take a picture of it after. Even if it's something as simple as changing a luminaire, an outdoor light, just take a picture before when it looks like crap, take a picture after it looks like good, and say, we can freshen up your look on your house quickly. Things like that. That's how you should be doing it from a local standpoint. Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is you do your my business with Google. It's free. Now, granted, they're going to hound you to death. Okay, let me tell you, once you list and get your free listing, they're going to call you and ask you constantly for verification, wanting to upgrade you and get you to advertise locally. And I'm not a big believer in those things like Angie's List and all that kind of stuff where they want to negotiate a price with you, or you've already got to pay money before you even got the first lead. I don't believe in any of those type of things. I don't believe in any of that. It's a waste of money in my opinion. But anyway, Google My Business or any of those local business things you definitely want to do. You want to make sure that you pop up in Google listing, and also Google Maps. Make sure you're in Google Maps as well, and you go in and read about getting your free listing and just get the free one. Get it. But make sure you're not going and putting your cart before the horse. Make sure you have the name you want to use. Make sure, and we can talk about choosing a name for your business because that's important as well. But you make sure that you have everything in place before you go set up these profiles. Because once they get set up and they start getting out there, I don't know what happens when you go in and you start changing things. It just seems like I've watched it. It's like your traffic drops off and something happens. It's that initial push. Make sure you get it right the first time. So take some time. If you got any questions on how to do that, I am always here. You can just go to paulabernathy.com and submit a question. I handle literally thousands of questions a month from people on the code, on business, on recommendations, hiring, firing. Some people just want a motivational pick me up. They're struggling. That's what paulabernathy.com is all about, and it's paid for by Wix. It doesn't cost anything. So jot that down. It's also in our mobile app. We have a free mobile app that allows you to be able to get to Let's Ask Paul with one click. And so it makes it so easy for you to do it while you're there. Just ask the question. And we'll either do it in a podcast or we'll respond back in an email as time permits, that type of thing. So anyway, that's what we got going on for that. So again, be very specific on your Google business listing or any of those business listings. Okay. Now, the next thing I will tell you is right out the gate, start asking your customers right away for reviews. Ask them. And a lot of those things like my Google My Business and all that kind of stuff has the ability for you to share a link so people can give a review. Now, here's my advice. You're not going to have a situation, you're not going to be like my brother, who everybody loves. He's a contractor, but everybody loves my brother. Me, not so much. So what happens is when you solicit these reviews, you have to get used to where you feel comfortable with the person that's going to give you a review. And you can develop that as you're doing the service call, as you're working with them, as you're doing the job. You'll get a good feel of whether or not this is somebody's like, you know what, they'd give me a good review. And they're the ones that you want to share the link or give them a link and say, hey, can I text you a link for you to be able to do a review? Can I send you this? Okay, that type of thing. And a lot of times people will even use our NFC cards that we have that you can just simply tap on their phone and put this information. And even a survey can just be tapped and it comes up right on their phone. We have customers of ours who have what's called just a NFC survey card. When they say, can you give us a survey? And they go, yeah, they just pull the card out and tap their phone and the survey thing pops right up on their phone and they fill it out right there. And now you've captured a review, because reviews on those type of things like the Google My Businesses are key. Get as many good reviews as you can, right? But only ask for the reviews if you know you're going to get a good one. Again, there's a fine science to that. You'll get the feel. If you go through a job and you feel like the guy's just a real dick, then it's probably not the one you want to ask for a review. Okay, so again, people say, well, no, that's filtering reviews. Damn right it is. This is your business we're talking about. Dude, it's dog eat dog world here. You only want the good reviews. Okay. Next, I want to talk a little bit about one other. Before I talk about websites, I want to talk about a resource. For example, if you do your shopping at Home Depot, if you shop at Home Depot, they have an app and a process that you can get set up for where if you're buying some products there, you create a number of credits. And when you create these credits, you can have them refer work to you, because there's a lot of people that go to these places that buy luminaires, buy ceiling fans. I used to do quite a few of these. And you know, and what happens is they will share that with you and it comes off of the credits. So you're buying product there anyway. So you might as well get in that program. And if you get in that program, and I think Lowe's has that too, but I always found Lowe's a little bit tougher to deal with. And I don't even know if they still do it, but I know Home Depot does. And it's really cool because they do send you work. Now, you may not get all the work that gets sent to you, but I used to get my fair share. And it was just really easy work too. It was like putting in a luminaire here, putting in a ceiling fan here. Okay. Prices today are a lot better than it was when I was doing it. Put in a ceiling fan now, you can get $150, $250, $300 for about an hour's worth of work. I'm just saying. Even if you just send one of your guys to do it, you know what I'm saying? And you don't do it. But either way, that's something you should look into, especially if you're growing your business, because what happens is what I found is it put me in contact with a customer who bought something at Home Depot. But then I used to get that loop effect, whereas they would send me their cousin. Once I did a good job for them, they would send me, their neighbor would call me. And they didn't have to go through Home Depot or the app. They would just call me. So I'd go to them and I'd give them 5 or 6 business cards and say, please share it with some friends. And that type of thing, I really appreciate it. I'd explain to them that I'm a contractor and I'm trying to build my name, and I appreciate it. They would do that. You know, some people will and some people won't, but what did it cost you? It cost you a couple of damn business cards. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey, there ain't no shame in my game. I have no problem giving that stuff out. So again, check out Home Depot, see if they still have that service. I haven't looked to see, but they had it just when I was in Texas. And again, I was a contractor in Texas as well as Virginia, and they had it. So I'm pretty sure it's still out there. So go check it out. It doesn't cost you anything. You're already buying at Home Depot anyway, some things. So anyway, good to check that out. Okay, let's talk about websites. Now, here's where people tend to turn out. They end up going, oh, God, here we go. I don't want to get into a big old website. Dude, you don't have to. Today, websites are so easy with the templates. All you got to do is fill in a little bit of information about your company and add a couple pictures. Wix, for example, is probably the easiest I have ever seen to get you started. And you can even buy a domain directly through them. And if you already have a domain, you already should know how to hook up and forward that domain to whatever your Wix account would be. But at the end of the day, everybody should have at least one landing page about their services or their company that you can use to expand on it. It's all about the cost per character, folks. You heard me talk about this. If I've got to run an ad on, let's say I'm running an ad in even Craigslist, because I'll talk about that a little later. But even if I do that, I'm going to pay, or I'm going to be limited to the amount of information that I can give. So I need to get them somewhere as quickly as possible to capture them in order to be able to then hold them with an engaging video. And it doesn't have to be professional video. It just has to be you being honest about what you do, your service, and what you can do for them. Everybody wants to know what you do for me, okay? So, as much as they might sound like they want to help the world, everybody, believe it or not, is somewhere inside are like, well, I get it, but what is in it for me? So I have a limited amount of time to explain to them what's in it for them, what I can do for them. Beautify their home, make it safer, offer them a good price, reliable service, local, licensed. Maybe I'm a CMECP and I'm going to market myself over everybody else because I've been through some extra training because I can put it in code compliant, but I'm also raised my game and I want them to know about it. It's up to you to sell yourself. You're always going to be selling yourself, but the amount of time that it takes to capture that customer and keep them, I can't put that in print everywhere. It costs a fortune. So that's why you do the same thing in your social media. You do the same thing in your physical ads. Get them to a place. Get them to a place where you can share about what you do. Now, that was so great about when we had the Sparks card, we had the mobiles, because, again, I could tap their phone and send them directly to a concise thing that explained everything about my services, even a video, even this type of stuff, coupons, things like that. People didn't understand that, and I was a little ahead of my time, I think, for something like that. But that gets people the information they need quickly. And today we have attention deficit disorder. People just don't want it to drag on, much like this podcast is dragging on. Okay. All right, so you got to have a landing space. Now, you can go to Wix, Squarespace, WordPress. They have templates, very simple, fill in the blank quickly, but you need to do it. If you don't know how to do it, then you need to find somebody that can do it. It's well worth the investment to have a simple one-page, constantly scrolling that you can add stuff to template. Simple and easy for that. But you have to have a web presence, okay? Because, again, I can use 10 words and get you to somewhere that I can use 1,000 words in a video and engage you than it is to try to put 50 words on an ad, and then people aren't going to read past the first 10, 15 words, and you've lost them already. So, again, try to get them over to a web presence. Get them over to whether it's my Google, maybe it's your Google listing, maybe it's a Yelp listing. We haven't talked about Yelp. I should have mentioned that. You should always have a Yelp listing also, folks. These are local things, okay? You need to have all the things that are local. And again, before you go signing up for these things, make sure you've already written down, very structured. This is what the name I'm going to use, consistent. This is what my message is going to be. These are the images I'm going to use. Think about it. Just don't go do it. Think about how you want to do it, because this is all about a mindset, okay? All right. Next, we'll talk a little bit about local networking and partnerships. Y'all have heard me talk about this on other partnerships. I'm a big believer in finding other plumbers, HVAC technicians, general contractors, people that you can develop a network. Now, we used to be called BNI, Business Networking International, where you could pay some money and you'd be the only trade in that group. So the goal was that everybody else that's doing work will end up sharing your business card with them. And the problem with that is some of them, even though you're in the group, they don't know you. They haven't formed a relationship with you. And so it takes a while for you to go to these meetings and speak. You get 1 minute to speak and tell everybody about your company every week and hand out business cards, and then givers gain. You give other referrals to other people. But my experience when I started with that, and I was in that it took a while for people to warm up to you. Once they warmed up to you, or they called you out to do a little work for them and they liked it, then they would be very enthusiastic about sharing you with other people. But there was a curve you had to get past. Okay. It's like a good old boys club. It still is. I don't care what anybody says. It was, you got to get past the good old boy thing. And then once you're accepted, then they will do that. Well, my concept is just screw that shit. My concept is skip it. Go straight to the people that can make you money. Is the people that will be on a job and say, hey, I know an electrician that can help you out. I know a plumber that can help you out. I know an HVAC guy that can help you out. So for me, I would say I targeted the plumber that what I felt was a well-established plumber, not little Jimmy plumber who maybe has one helper and doesn't do very much work. I looked and tried to target established plumbers, established HVAC contractors, general contractors, established real estate agents, established home inspectors. What I did was I tried to create my own network. And they might say to me, well, I've already got somebody I recommend. And I would say, that's fine. Can I give you a couple business cards, in case they get booked up and they can't help your customer? I'm right here. Give me a shot. I'm not asking to be your number one. I'm asking to be possibly your number two. And they might say, but what happens is people get busy and they can't get something done and everybody's impatient that you might move up to the number one spot. It's worth it. It costs you nothing but your time to form these relationships. And in turn, you're going to agree to say, you know what? If I see some plumbing issue, I'm going to give you a call. Again, and if they tell you that you're not the number one, say, hey, it's cool. I've got plumber friends I know too that I really like, but I want to make sure that your name is in the mix. And I'm willing to put your name in the mix. You buy them a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I mean, don't be afraid to be rejected. I think that's the number one thing that I see for young entrepreneurs today is that the pride is so damn deep rooted that they're not willing to accept rejection. Like if I go to a plumbing contractor and I say, hey man, I love what you do. I love the volume you do. I would like to recommend you to my customers, and I'm growing my business and I'm building a network of people that I can trust. And I think you can be somebody I trust. And if they go, I'm not interested, well, that's okay. Move on to somebody else, because there's going to be somebody else out there that is hungry, that gets the concept and understands it. And you don't lose anything. What do you lose? A cup of coffee? And it doesn't always mean that you have to talk to the person that's the owner, right? It might be the project manager, business manager. It might be somebody. You'd be surprised how many project managers for companies that are not the owner, but are the ones that do the day-to-day legwork. They're the ones that hire the subs and things like that. The owners might not. But if you're hungry and you're able to do it as an owner, then you're out there hustling to get your business growing. At some point, you may have a project manager that you're going to train to do the exact same thing that you just did. And they're going to be constantly out there for you as your mouthpiece. It trickles down, buddy. And if you get an employee that's not willing to promote your business for you as you would, then you need to get rid of that cancer in your company. I know some people hate to hear that, but look, if your employee is not willing to speak as highly of the company that they work for as you are that own the company, then get rid of their ass and move on. Okay? I'm just saying, if that's all they care about is a paycheck and they don't want to help you make more money so that they in turn can make more money, then you need to weed them out. Find somebody else. Trust me, there's people out there that will. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. So build your network. Don't be afraid to get out there. Next thing I'm going to tell you to do is, some people may be uncomfortable with this, and this is community involvement. Don't be afraid to sponsor a Little League team and have the name on their jersey, or banner at the ballpark where everybody will be sitting at the ballpark. It sounds like a lot, but in most cases, these are one-time $500 things that'll put a banner on the baseball field at the end zone. And when you design that banner or you talk to them, just make sure the one thing, they make your name as big as possible. Your biggest possible on that banner within their guidelines, and make sure it says on there exactly what you do. God, I don't know how many times I go and see these banners and see this stuff from people, and I look at it and I'm like, what the hell do they do? Their name is terrible. Their logo sucks. I don't even know what they do, and so I don't give them any peace of mind. Comes to mind a commercial that I've seen on Newsmax. It's this Jolie thing. And it's basically, you have to go research it. It's about a shower head. But they spent so much money doing a commercial that it took about 15 times of me watching that damn thing to say, you know what? Let me go Google what this thing is. Not everybody's going to do that. But they're commercial. You might say, well, their commercial worked, didn't it, Paul? You finally did it. No, but that's not a good return on my investment, because every time they run that ad, it costs money. So they got to watch that ad over and over again before they know what to do. And that's just not a great way to do it. I don't believe that's a great way to do your marketing. You need to get it up front, what you do and what your name is and your number. That's it. Get it out there. So I tell everybody else, I don't care about the other shit around the banner. All I want is my name as big as possible. I want to be what I do as big as possible in respect to the layout. And then I want my phone number on there. That's it. That's what I want. I want people to know at first glance what I do. That's the other thing I hate about people that do the market, do the stuff on their vans and their trucks. I've seen companies with the name of their business on the side of it, but they don't put underneath it electrical contractor or mechanical contractor or whatever. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You have just wasted a rolling marketing idea because you only have a brief amount of time for somebody to be engaged. And to me, if anybody recommended that, I don't know where their head is at, because you want it to be right in your face what you are, what you do, and who you call. It has to be in the face for somebody because it's only a brief moment, okay? All right, anyway, so community involvement, school programs, charity projects. If the cost is right, it's not real expensive, and you look at it and say, well, basically this event, if I sponsor it, if I get one sale, it'll pay for the event. So it's a net zero, so I didn't cost me anything. Then it's worth it. And it helps support your community, and people think about that, okay? Also, bundling in this, we'll talk about, again, those local business groups like BNIs, if you have a business, or if you commerce, trade commerce, that type of thing. Trade organizations. Now, example, I'm here in Louisa, Virginia. That's where our offices are now. And I don't join the local commerce because there's, from my perspective, there's nothing that it can give me because I'm not a local contractor, right? But I could join it if I'm trying to get people that are possibly wanting to pass an electrical exam, right? But mine is a little broader because I'm trying to get people all over the state, not just one local area, which may have a very small return on investment. So for me, it wouldn't make sense. But if I'm a local contractor and I'm doing work in this specific area, then it makes all the sense for me to join that Chamber of Commerce or that local marketing group or something like that in order for me to network and build relationships. And you never go to these events, folks, without you wearing something with your company name on it. Always promoting yourself. Always. You know how people used to say, God, that guy self-promotes all the time. He's all full of himself. Those people that say that, and they say that about me, they say about my cult, they say about others, you don't get it. I remember years ago, I came up with the electrical guru. And I took so much crap from people on Mike Holt's forum, from other places saying, and this is their own, and this is coming from their inside inadequacies, is what they would say is, boy, he thinks he's the guru. And it would drive them crazy. They would start topics on message boards. Go Google it. It'll still be out there, to the point where I finally got rid of it. But I got to thinking about it years later, and I was like, you know what? They did not get me. It wasn't about me thinking I'm the guru. It was marketing, and it was working. I had an awesome logo. I had all this type of stuff that was focused around the electrical guru and all this kind of stuff, but it's all marketing. I'm still just Paul Abernathy trying to educate people on the National Electrical Code. Whether you like what I put out or you don't, you agree or disagree, you have that prerogative. We don't always have to agree. You can do your own thing. You don't have to watch my videos, listen to my podcast, take my courses, watch our videos on Fast Tracks too. You have that freedom to do whatever you want. But if you choose, then it's up to me to make sure I market it properly so that you know exactly what I'm presenting to you. And that's what the electrical guru was all about. So, and here's what's so funny is when I let that domain go and you go back years later to get it, now they want, 10 grand for the URL. I was like, really? But I was like, I should have kept it. I broke my cardinal rule. My cardinal rule is when you buy domains, that you buy all of the three mains. You buy the .com, the .net, and .org because it's cheap. It's cheap real estate. Cost you about $15 a year for each one. That is cheap real estate. If you don't believe me, ask Dustin from Electrician U why he doesn't have .net and .org from Electrician U. You know why he doesn't? Because I own them, okay? And I got them before he was incorporated, before that was anything that's changed. So they're not for sale. They're free. I would never sell them to him. Here's a message to Dustin out there. If you ever watch my podcasts or listen to my podcasts, Dustin, if you want the .org or the .net for Electrician U, all you got to do is reach out to me. Call me. I'm willing to forgive, and I'm willing to give them to you. I don't need them. Okay? It's just principle is what it is for me. You know what I'm saying? And every business should own their .net, .com, and .org. Okay? That's your tip of the day. You get your business, if you're lucky enough to get a URL and it's available in all three of those, dude, that's just part of expenses, your yearly expenses. Dude, it's under $50 for 3 domains. What you do with them, you can have them all forward. Like mine, the nets and orgs, they all forward to the .coms, right? And so it's like real estate. Once you own it, you own it. All you're doing is paying a yearly tax, if you will, on it to keep it. Nothing's free, folks. I own my home. It ain't free. Every year I pay property taxes and all these other, nothing's ever free. Okay? Just saying. So get out of that mentality. Okay. Let's talk about content marketing on a very light budget. Educational videos. One good way to get in with your customers is to produce quick videos. They don't have to be professionally produced. Just use your smartphone. Very simple. But do very quick tutorials or safety tips to position yourself as the expert in the industry in your local market. So again, things like even if you're going on a job and you're just replacing a luminaire, if there's one little tip that you can give somebody, like caulking around it or sealing around it or pushing the wires back tightly so you know that they're not going to come in contact, it doesn't matter. Just a minute or two that you can have where you're teaching somebody something. And I think the problem that people have is and I struggle with this, is that I do so many videos, and the moment that I think that if I do a training on something that somebody will go, well, shit, Paul, that everybody knows that. And I'm like, dude, why did I waste my time? I have done videos on something that is the very simplest concept. And I get people sending me emails and texts and all this going, that's brilliant. Thank you. That's what I needed. And I'm sitting there going, you should have already known that. I mean, I could do a video, for example, on explaining the 25 ohms or less and the ground rods and all those rules. But I'm sitting there thinking everybody should know that, right? But they don't. You'd be surprised how many people are electricians that are licensed that don't know those rules. And the reason for that is they're used to putting in the stuff. They're not so necessarily used to the code. And they may have gotten their license through grandfathering, or they took an exam, and some exams aren't created equal as others. And there are a lot of people that pass electrical exams because they're good test takers. There's people that get their license and pass an exam. Just because they pass an exam doesn't mean they know the code. They just knew enough to pass an exam. And that's what exam prep is all about, is trying to give you the tools to get you past. We can't teach you everything about the NEC in an exam prep course. You'd never finish the damn thing. Y'all know how thick that code book is. But the goal is to give you what you need, the low-hanging fruit that most test locations will put in their test, or at least teach you the skills on how to maneuver the NEC in order to be able to answer these questions. And as you move through our courses, for example, you will learn different things that you will retain, and that's going to help you. Okay, so that's the whole concept here. So don't be afraid to do educational videos and share them on your Google space, your Yelps, the next doors, little tips that may help the general homeowner to the point where they go, oh crap, you know what? Let me just hire this guy. Like maybe you're hanging up a ceiling fan. Maybe you have a little tip that you like to use when you're hanging up a ceiling fan or something. You don't have to show the whole thing. Just a tip. The point is, you'll become the expert in that local market. And when people see it, they'll be like, dude, I'm going to hire this guy. Because again, everybody that sees somebody on TikTok, LinkedIn, all these others, they see the videos, they see them, they think that there's some influencer or whatnot and that type of thing. And it's crazy to me. I appreciate going to events and people coming up to me and saying how they love our content and all that stuff. But my next question to me is, did you learn something? Because all this other shit doesn't matter. Did you learn anything? That's what I'm focused on. Did you learn something? Okay, so do some quick videos. Pick it so that you look very intelligent. Okay, be very selective on what your tip you're given. Okay, and just get it out there in your market and share it on, again, next door, all those local driven type of stuff. But also on even the stuff that's broader, like your YouTubes and all that type of stuff. Just stay consistent. Okay. Now, the next thing I'll tell you to do is, and it's become amazingly easier today than it used to be. And it doesn't matter whether or not it seems like a cheesy response when you do this, but it does help. And that is, start thinking about writing some blogs. Blogs can be educational as well. Ask some tips, your local market. Stay specific to your local market with these tips. There's no sense, for example, if I'm an electrical guy and I want to get business in, let's say, Louisa County, it doesn't do me any good to do some blogging on national things or blogging on the National Electrical Code. It doesn't do any good because those people don't care about that. Remember what you're focusing on. I'm not here to build somebody as to do what I do on the internet, that type of thing. I'm trying to help the contractor. So your blog should be very focused to your market. Like for example, if you write a blog about the temperatures, like right now, next week, it's going to be down 8 degrees here in Virginia. Maybe if you're a plumber, you write a quick thing on the tips to keep your plumbing pipes from freezing or whatever that you can share out there on your social media, very local specific, like Nextdoor is great for this type of thing. Your Yelps, give them something that locally they can take away. And then at the end of it, add in what you do as far as your company and you'd love to earn their business, that type of thing. That's what you're going for. There's no sense in most of you trying to gather a national audience when the real money for you is your local audience. So that's the biggest shift that I tell people all the time. I'm not here to educate influencers. I'm not here to create people to sell online stuff. No. My focus is for you, the contractor, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, general contractor, whatever. Build your market local, and these tips are going to help you build it local. Okay. So blogging. Okay. And also in that tip that you do, make sure you include keywords in there like affordable electricians near me or emergency electrical repair. Write that in your verbiage so that it gets picked up by search engines, okay, as it's put out there, that type of thing. And this is the kind of tips that you're probably going to put over on that web page, that one-page web page that you're going to do. Okay. Next is email marketing. You should be collecting a list from all your customers. On all of your things that you do, you should ask to join a newsletter so that you can send out a newsletter or maintenance reminder or updates or whatever. So capturing emails are very important. So however you do it, make sure you're capturing and retaining emails. Now, we do this through our websites where you register. And then people will say, well, why did you email me this? I was like, because when you registered, did you read the fine print? The fine print says we could email you stuff. If you don't want to get emailed anything, don't register. Hello. Okay. So that type of thing. So next is word of mouth. So some people have said out there, it says, what is the most popular or what is the most effective form of advertising? And it is obviously word of mouth. Or a good referral strategy. But I will tell you, the problem with word of mouth is if you do great for somebody, they tend to maybe tell 1 or 2 people. If you do something shitty, they tell 50. They go out of their way. So this is why I always tell people in my leadership class that I do, the mentoring masterclass on leadership, that the leaders, electricians take, masters take, whoever's going to be interacting with the customer, it is so important that you don't realize that the first impression means a lot, but you can overcome a bad first impression with how the rest of your encounter goes with that customer. So maybe you started off in a bad impression, maybe something happened, but you don't give up. And a lot of what I used to see with electricians, for example, in those masterminds that we would do is they would say, after the first, when I realized a customer didn't like me or whatever, that I just was there to get the job done and get the hell out. No, you have got to build skills. Okay. These are called soft skills. You have to be able to take a negative and turn it into a positive, and you have time. So I hear people say first impressions are hard to overcome. They're tough, but can it be overcome? Absolutely. Should you be training your staff specifically in techniques to overcome a bad first impression? Absolutely, you should be. Absolutely. And there are ways to do that. And I hold a webinar on that, how to overcome a bad first impression. Everybody in the company should watch that video. Everybody. Because there are ways to overcome a first impression. I'm not talking about on the internet. I'm not talking about saying something bad on the internet and people go, I don't like this guy. He's a prick. No, folks, I work with people to build their local business. I'm not worried about building your internet presence when it comes to nationally, getting somebody from Illinois and you're in Maryland. That is not it. There's many facets to this. But every company should have every one of their electricians that interact with a customer take a course on soft skills so that they understand how to overcome a bad first impression or how to make sure that you set a good first impression so that you can even grow on that during your interaction, right? And then during that interaction, that's when you can ask for the referral. That's when you can ask for testimonies because you have built this up. Folks, it's not brain surgery. Now, look, if you have a shitty attitude and you're always shitty, then this is going to be tough for you. This is going to be tough for you. It's not going to work for you. And if I'm the owner, I'm getting rid of you. Unless you're just such a good-ass worker that I'm going to say, you know what? I will send you out there to do the work, but you are forbidden. You're forbidden to talk to customers. You are forbidden. I'm going to send somebody with you. Okay. Maybe the helper is not the one that's the electrician, but maybe the helper is more, can interact with the customer better. Then I want him talking or her talking. I don't want you doing, I want you there to do the work, get in, get out and go. I want somebody else talking. Okay. That's up to you, but I can't, those are the kind of people I'm like, you know what? You have to be able to turn a frown upside down. You got to be able to learn it. And that's a skill that can be taught, but you have to be open to it. If you're just an a-hole from the beginning, it's not going to really help you much. If you don't want to interact with people or you hate people. I mean, I don't like people. I love animals. I don't care much for people, but when I'm interacting with them, they would never know. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's a process. And if your company's interested in that webinar, just let me know. We come out and we will do it at your location, at your facility. And it's basically about 3 hours. And we teach you, we do some one-on-ones, we do some examples, we do some peer-to-peer, and then I explain how you have to go at it as a mentality. If you're interested in that, reach out to our office. It's basically a soft skills training. That's what it's called, if you're interested in that. Okay, so word of mouth can be you're great, and then sometimes it can be very bad, but you can minimize the bad by that first impression and understanding how to repair a not so good first impression. The next thing to do is really all contractors should be thinking about a loyalty program. I know they don't. I can tell you this, that I did not have one when I was in Virginia. I did when I moved to Texas, especially if you're doing grassroots marketing. Let me give you an example of why this is important to do loyalty program. So one of the things that I would do with door hangers, okay, is I would go around when I would target a neighborhood that I knew was between 5 to 10 years old. Okay. I would go to Google Maps. I would look at it, Google Earth, find out where it is, look at it. And then what I would do is when I was targeting that subdivision specifically for my door hanger, one of the things that I would do on this is that when I would go out there is when I would get work, I would say, look, those projects usually meant that they had more than one thing that needed to be fixed. I'll give you an example. My home, it's in McKinney, Texas. You know, the roof probably needs to be redone. It needs to have some other stuff done or whatnot. It needs to this or that. And so chances are for the most of these homes that if you get the initial call to put in a luminaire or to add a circuit or add some recessed lights or do something, there is a high probability they're going to need something else done. And so you want to be able to say, you know what, if you call me back, you'll get a 5% discount on any future work you want done. You don't have to know special code. Just let me know. I'll keep track of you and keep this card. I'd have a loyalty card and I'd say, keep this card and just show it to us and you'll get 5% off or whatever you feel comfortable with. Maybe you set a minimum threshold of how much they spend. It's up to you. But give the customers a discount if they repeat and want you back out there. Okay? Another thing that you can do with that is get those people that we talked about you met with, that if you refer them as far as your network and say, look, I would like to be able to offer my customers a 5% off for your services. Maybe there's a money threshold. Maybe they don't feel comfortable with that. But maybe they're like, well, if they spend $500 with us, we'll give them this discount or whatever. Maybe it's a monetary. It doesn't matter. It's worth a shot. It's worth a try. If they say, nah, I'm not going to do that, then don't. But you should be giving a loyalty program because I want to squeeze as much money as I can out of every opportunity. So, for example, when I used to do the Home Depot stuff, which again is free, I mean, as long as you're buying product from Home Depot, what I used to do with that is, man, you'd be surprised in how many returns that I got they would call me back again. Dude, I had some houses that I was called out there to put a ceiling fan in. And then 2 weeks later, I got called to put another ceiling fan in. And they didn't even go through Home Depot. They already just had my number. They loved my work. They loved what we did. So, dude, I had one job where I can just remember in my mind, this was in McKinney, that I bet that woman called us out there probably 10 times to replace some switches, to add a light, to change a luminaire, to put in ceiling fans. And dude, I had to give that woman a loyalty discount. She was making me money. And guess what? She shared it with her friends. So I used to tell her, I said, you know what? If you share this with your friends, I will give them the same discount I'm giving you, 5% off. Just have them take a picture of your card so that they can show us when we get there. That way they were engaged and that type of thing. Or just refer it. And I can go, look, all they have to do is tell me. I mean, if they didn't have that, I would say, just who are you talking about? Right? And I used to have a little book of the loyalty customers in it, that type of thing. So anyway, however you want to do it. But again, I didn't have no problem giving a discount because I did not have to work for that. I can already figure that it would have cost me a freaking fortune in the advertising to get that customer, or if I had done more marketing, but I just got it for free. So anyway, that's a loyalty program. Lastly, one thing I'm going to tell you is with every job you do, leave your mark. And what does that mean? Leave your mark. Whether or not you come up with stickers if I go, for example, when I would go to do a service call, whether I had to go into the panel or not, and usually I did because I'd have to turn the panel off because I ain't working on anything live. I'm not trying to be a hero. I took an opportunity to put my sticker on their panel. They didn't give me permission. I didn't ask for permission. They can rip it off if they want. I don't care. But I did. I went and I would put my sticker on the inside door or somewhere on that panel. Okay. I didn't care if I put it on the outside of the door of the panel. I put my little sticker. It wasn't big. It was a small little sticker that said electrician, and it had my number on it. Now, ain't no shame in my game. You can do that with magnets. You can do that with labels. I knew a lady contractor who used to do a lot of work, and all of her work, it was when she would do above suspended ceiling work, she had those little tags that look like ID tags for like trash bags. You know what I'm saying? It's like a rectangle. Then it had a little tail on it that you feed back through it and tighten it, like a tie wrap with a label on it. She had those with her business name, everything, electrician, all that kind of stuff. And she would put it randomly on the MC above the ceiling or other areas around raceways or whatever. And I used to say, she used to come to my seminars, and she's also the lady that used to do her color coding for her services and everything. She'd use all kinds of wild colors like pink and lavenders and whatever, because everybody thinks black, red, blue, and brown, orange, yellow is a requirement. It may be something that the local jurisdiction requires. It may be something in the specifications, but it's not in the NEC unless you're talking about a high leg. And if it is, it's a high leg, it's orange if you're going to color code it. If you don't want to color code it and you want to put labels on it, that's fine. Then it doesn't have to be orange. But the point was, she made it a point. And one of the guys in a seminar one time said to her, and this was back when I was in Virginia doing these seminars. I'm back now. But they said to her, well, you're just making it easier for the lawyer to find you. And she came back with a response so daggone quickly. It was incredible. She went back and said, you know what? That lawyer might need electrical work done too. I don't have a problem with that. And she would elaborate and say, look, I stand by every bit of my work. I don't care if a lawyer sees my name on the work or somebody contacts me. I'm going to do it right the first time. And then she looked up at me and she said, that's why I'm here. That's why I come to your webinars. That's why I take the training of Mr. Abernathy, because I want to learn the code, because I take this job serious. It's my profession, no different than a doctor, a lawyer, that type of thing. She took it very serious. And so she didn't have a problem putting her name, branding her stuff everywhere. And I was like, you go, girl. That's exactly what a successful entrepreneur wants to do. Those things are cheap. Getting things printed with your name on it like that, Vista Print and other places, it's so damn cheap. But all you have to do is have one person see it one time and remember it, and boom, it paid for itself. Okay, so leave your mark. Always leave, magnets are a bit expensive. Leave a sticker too. Put a sticker if you get an opportunity to put a sticker on the panel or something like that. Then take that opportunity, but brand it. Make sure that you leave your mark before you leave, okay? Let's see. Cost-effective advertising that we'll go over. Local classifieds and online platforms, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor. You've already heard me talk about those. Yard signs and vehicle branding. Get some yard signs made up. And when you're doing work for a customer, ask them if you can you get those cheap ones. You know what I'm saying? Like the political ones that get made up. They're not overly expensive. I used to get these things made up. Cheap, and ask them if you can put a yard sign in the yard. And again, be very clear. Name of your company and what you do. And a phone number. Dude, don't be over crazy. Straight up put what you want. I often tell people all the time about sales, the Zig Ziglar approach to sales. People say, I have a hard time closing my sales. I have a hard time getting the sale when I'm rattling on to somebody and we're he and hawing back and forth. And what I ask them is I say to them, well, did you ask for the sale? They go, what do you mean? I was telling them about my service. I'm like, did you ask for the sale? Did you tell them I'd like to earn your business? What is it going to take for me to get this done for you today? Or can we go on and get you on the books for next week? Or whatever's convenient for you. I really think this can benefit you. I really want to earn your business. You seem interested in what we got. When can we make this happen? Well, if they say, well, I got to talk to the wife, then what you say is, that's no problem. Is she available? I'd love to explain this to her too. It'd be great. Again, you're going to have a number of people that are just going to push you off. But if you don't ask for the sale, you're never going to get it. So if I ask somebody, can I put a yard sign in your yard? And I'm really trying to grow my business in this area, in your neighborhood. Can I put a sign on there? And tell them, say, you know what, and be very specific. Say, look, can I just do it for a week? I'll come back the end of the week and pick it up. Okay. And you make sure you set a reminder on your phone. Now today we have phone reminders to say, go pick up sign at this address and that type of thing. But ask if you can put a sign for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Ask it. Also, branding of your vehicle. Dude, I'm not saying go out and spend thousands of dollars on a vehicle wrap, but you should at least get magnetic lettering, magnetic signs. Vistaprint makes them cheap. You don't need to letter your whole vehicle. But if you're in a van, you need to have something that says what the hell you do on it. Don't just put your name on it. Nobody cares about your name. They want to know what you do. And I'm going to put on there Abernathy Electrical Services. It says right in the name what I do. I'm going to put under it electrical contractor. And I'm going to put under it no job too small, no job too big. And then I'm going to put the biggest I can, my phone number. And I'm going to put that on the sides, but I'm also going to put it on the back of my vehicle if I have a vehicle that can have me put it on the back, like a van, the door. Because people are stopped at a stoplight behind you, they can see it. They can snap a picture of it. Now, a lot of people even put big QR codes on it so people can do the QR code, and that's fine. It's not going to work on the side of the vehicle really too much, but put in the back when somebody's stopped behind you, why not? It's not going to hurt anything. And that's when you send them to your website or that one page that you can capture them now. You have got them now. And that's where you can do a quick intro video that says, hey, thanks for coming to my website. I'm a big believer of that, folks, on those little one-page things. Say, hey, thanks for coming to my website. I'm a local contractor trying to earn your business. I'm very proud of what I do. And I think I can, tell them a little bit about a story, but let them know right away the market that you're serving. God, so many people don't listen to that. It's local. You're not trying to be national. You're just trying to be local. Stop thinking big. Think very microscopic in your area, okay? All right, so that's what I'd say. Please get something on your vehicle. And you can take them off if you don't want it on your vehicle in the evening or whatever. You just pull them on and pull them off. It's fine. And then lastly, again, flyers and door hangers. I am a big believer in those. I believe in segmenting your locations. I mean, I will go, for example, I would sit down as a contractor and I would say, okay, I'm going to target this subdivision. I know there's probably 350 homes in this subdivision or 400 in this subdivision. Okay, this one's about 5 years old. So they're starting to have problems. Switches have stopped working. Luminaires need to be freshened up. Things. Okay, maybe they want to add an EV charger. Maybe they want to do something. Maybe they're adding a basement, addition, or finishing off an attic. I don't know. But I'm targeting that. Maybe they want to put in a generator. Maybe they want a cost-effective gen-ready setup. Maybe they want an energy management system. I don't know. I used to have multiple types of flyers and door hangers, depending on what I was targeting for that area. So anyway, I target that area. And I hang those door hangers. And again, I put a referral code on it. I put in so that I can track it. If I'm going to give a new customer discount, I make sure that they give me this flyer so that I can track my ROI. But again, it's inexpensive. Door hangers are cheap. And I'm not just saying use Vistaprint. You go Google it and you Google cost-effective door hangers. And you're going to find printers that will make these things for hardly nothing. Nothing. In fact, you may even have a printer that's local to you and you want to keep the business local. Go to them and say, hey, I'd like you to do some printing for me. What's the best price you can do for me? Don't be afraid to ask for that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, those are just some tips on that type of thing. So let me give you some real quick pro tips to help enhance your success. And we'll kind of do that and we'll conclude this podcast. Number one, track your ROI, okay? Make sure that you either write a reference, write a number, keep an effort so that when you do have a customer call, you know where it comes from. Whether you get the specific cards and you have a little space, a white box that you manually write, because if you want to buy a bunch of cards and you don't want to have to put a separate number on each one, that's fine. Get them made, but put a little area in the bottom right or in the back where you can write a code on it so that you can track your efforts. Like I use this code for this neighborhood. So you can see what your return on investment, and you can always ask the customer, what is the code that's on your card? And they'll give it to you. That's like saying, how were you referred to me? Well, you're doing it because of the card. That's the thing. Keep track of it. And things that work for you, rinse, repeat, and do it again, and again. Okay? Relationships. Build other relationships with the other trades that are in your market. Try to find a good plumber, good HVAC, and vice versa. If you're a mechanical guy, find somebody that y'all can refer business back and forth and you can create your own little network. It takes a little work, but it will pay dividends in the end when you have somebody that's out there selling for you when you're not even out there. Okay? Business Networking International is a great example of that. If they have it in your area. But it is a bit of a commitment, so you can do this yourself by building your own little reliable network. Reach out. And if you already have a company that does plumbing and mechanical, then you need to treat them like separate entities, and you also grassroots market between each one of your entities separate. In other words, if you do plumbing and mechanical and electrical, don't do a flyer that has all three of these services. Okay, if you're focusing on electrical, just do one for electrical. You're focusing on mechanical, and the reason for that is people will throw things away unless it's geared towards what they need, and it kind of makes them trigger. So rather than doing a flyer that tries to cover everything you do, make it very focused. Like this week, I'm going to hit this neighborhood of 500 homes. I'm going to be focused on my electrical business. That way, I could also come back a month, 2 months later and do the same thing with a different looking flyer. I could focus on my mechanical business. Okay, I don't want to burn up my leads with one flyer that's going to get so cluttered that people read it and they get confused. Like, I don't know what the hell you offer. So again, I like to be very targeted. Yes, it costs money to buy these flyers. Yes, it costs money to do all that, but it's not nearly the amount of money it would cost you to get into an advertised marketing campaign somewhere. I've done it. I can tell you through the years of experience. Okay, that type of thing. Don't do the Angie's lists. Don't do those type of things. Okay. Now, also be consistent. So if you're going to do social media, you're going to be doing those little, tips videos, whatever, be consistent. Try to do at least one a week or two a week. Be very consistent. If you want to do, you could probably get 10 of them done on one job. Then you can keep them in the can, and that way you get already taken care of and you use them, that type of thing. Like maybe you're an HVAC guy. Maybe one tip that you do is how to read the nameplate on an outside unit. Maybe another little tip video is how to know when a capacitor needs to be replaced, and that type of thing. There's so many things that you can do as an electrician as well. It's like, ooh, you're using too much wattage. Would it benefit you to think about installing LEDs? Well, we can help you because we can show you which LED fixtures will look the best in a certain application. You want to get that interaction started, okay? But be consistent on it, okay? So let's conclude with this. Summarize now. Marketing, business cards. Make sure you're listed on all of the local channels, Yelps, Google My Business. Make sure you're doing the Nextdoor. Make sure you're doing all of that. Be consistent. Make sure you already know your name and everything before you go setting up these accounts so that they can be consistent through all of them. Make sure you get your Facebooks. Make sure you get your TikTok if it comes back. Make sure you get your Twitch and Instagram and Facebook. Be consistent. Don't have a bunch of different names. Be consistent with that so that you can be very, like I do, Master the NEC is consistent on all of my platforms, okay? All right, folks, that is it. That is all we got to talk about when it comes to the marketing and the grassroots marketings that I can think of. And just get out there and make your business successful. And I think you will follow those tips that you'll find that you can get a good firm hold of low-cost marketing in your region, grow your business, stop thinking national, thinking local, and really focusing on the people. And again, we're not talking about just getting the accounts. We're talking about actually using them, actually getting your banners made, your flyers made, your door hangers made, your business cards made, doing those little things at Home Depots and Lowe's and putting them in the windshield or putting them in the boxes if you choose. All those things, you have to constantly be marketing yourself. If you're the boss and you got people that work for you and they don't understand soft skills when dealing with customers and how to overcome a bad first impression, if they don't understand any of that stuff, or they feel like they won't listen to you because you're the boss and you're having trouble, then I'm more than happy to come in and do a training session on them and lay down the law for you. And if they don't want to follow it, get rid of them. Get somebody else. Or if you have a really good worker who's untrainable in that area, then just make sure that they're focusing on working and that they do not interact with the customer. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but it can be done. All right? Okay. First impressions are important, but a bad impression can be overcome if you know how to do it. All right? All right, folks. Hopefully you got something out of today's episode. Until next time, stay safe. God bless, and we'll catch you on an upcoming episode of Master the NEC podcast. Till then, take care.
Thanks for tuning into another electrifying episode of the Master the NEC podcast. We hope you're feeling more powered up and ready to tackle the electrical world with the knowledge and confidence you need to succeed. Remember, in the electrical trade, knowledge is power, and we're here to make sure you stay plugged into the latest insights, tips, and code updates. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with your fellow electricians and industry pros. Until next time, keep your tools sharp, your circuits clear, and your mind focused, because here at the Master the NEC podcast, we're all about sparking your success. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep mastering the trade. From all of us here at Electrical Code Academy, thank you for all your support, and we will see you on the next amazing Master the NEC podcast episode.